starts with breaking news.
That breaking news we are following this morning. A person is in the hospital after this crash alongside I-80. This happened around 10:45 near the 680 interchange. This is a closer look at the scene. So far, no word about the cause of this crash, but stay with us on air and online as we hopefully get some new details very soon.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on First Alert 6 Streaming. I'm Cerise Cole. Jared is working on all traffic things right now. It's very busy out there. He's going to join us shortly.
Indeed. I'm Erin Hartley, of course, joined by the Senior Chief Meteorologist, Rusty Lord, and he says the rain just will not stop.
It's one storm cell, and it will not go away, and it's been causing the problems we've been dealing with here for the last few hours. So let's dive into it here. This is the kind of the leftover bits that just won't fade away entirely, with the rain still generating in parts of Saunders County and near the Gretna area and points south where some of the heavier rain. This outline you see right here, that's the flash flood warning that's now in place because we've had 2 to 5 inches of rain in some parts within that, right along the Elkhorn and the Platte River valleys. And it's causing some ponding on some roads and water over roadways and some issues as people are trying to drive through it. But you can see some new development down to the south here. Just overall, the trend is this slowly sagging south, but emphasis on slowly. And there's the flash flood warning that now goes through 9:30 this morning for those areas that have had the heavier rain. You can see the radar estimated rainfall. This yellow to red swath right through here, basically 204th and west towards the Platte River, is where you got 2 to 5 inches of radar estimated rainfall that have fallen even as far west as Fremont and the Valley area. And it's just been right down that corridor there where we've had the problems. And you can see how this cell started all the way up here. This is over the last 12 hours and just kind of meandered south. There hasn't been much else otherwise. And it's been kind of going with a mind of its own and continues to track in that direction. Behind this to the north, some cool, very comfortable air continues to sag south. And we're going to start off the day or start off the afternoon, I think, with some beautiful conditions. You can see there's nothing going on up here, but behind that little cell is we just got to wait for it to move on out. Behind this, look at the muggy meter today. It's going to drop off significantly into the afternoon once we get rid of this morning rain. Otherwise, First Alert forecast shows this cluster of clouds and the thunder showers with it. Not doing a great job of picking up on it, but you look at the bigger picture here with this dropping south. There's the clearing to the north. We get into the 70s by lunch. And the mid-70s, I should say, and then later on today, we'll climb to near 80 degrees for that afternoon high by about 5 o'clock. And it should be comfortable with low dew points in the area. And then by 7, we're in the mid-70s. Falling off tonight, some good weather to look forward to tonight. The deck night forecast looks phenomenal. Some high clouds may try to stream in, and we head towards tomorrow morning. Look at this. We're in the 50s in some spots to start off the day. Open the windows, let some of that cool air flow through the house, and we'll be near 79 on Friday and 79 on Saturday as well. Phenomenal there. Once we get rid of this rain here before 8 o'clock this morning that continues to struggle to leave.
Yeah, like get out of here.
Like those in-laws you can't get rid of sometimes.
I'm not saying that.
No, not mine. I love mine.
Oh, okay, others.
Yeah.
Okay, so really the best part of that forecast of the next few days is the lack of humidity. How long will that last?
I think it's going to pair up at least those 3 days right there. So today, tomorrow, and into Saturday as things look really good with the dew points that, again, start to uptick on Saturday. It'll be a little more noticeable on Sunday, and then into next week are back up here in the muggy range to pair up with temperatures that are going to warm up a little bit. So upper 70s to right around 80 degrees all the way through about Monday of next week. And then we get back to summer with the upper 80s to near 90 for afternoon highs. So quite a stark contrast between the first half of the 10-day and the second half of the 10-day as we get some cool, comfortable air to enjoy this upcoming weekend.
Go outside, bask in it if you can.
It's going to be lovely. Just refreshing is the word I like to use.
Looking forward to it.
Not so lovely is this morning's traffic. You have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do. We've been seeing a lot of crashes. We've had some areas that have been flooding. So let's go in one by one and start talking about
Okay.
some of these. We're going to start actually in Valley. This is a crash that's been coming in, and it is impacting travel right around Highway 275 at Meigs. And you can see how things have slowed down a whole lot in this area as a result of this crash. We actually have a view from the NDOT camera, and they've kind of been moving the camera around a little bit. So this is not exact view of the crash, but we are in this area. We've had some flashing lights that are there in the background there, but we do have this crash right around here. It looks like from what I've been seeing, traffic on Meigs is blocked at this point as a result of this crash. You've got a number of fire trucks, police personnel that are on hand. So this is an area to avoid if you can. I know there's a lot of people who use 275. You're just going to need to be very careful as you head through that area. Other crashes that we're seeing, we've got this one that's been in place on the ramp from the northbound JFK to 480, and that's blocking the left lane of the ramp. So you need to stay right, watch for traffic to be slow as you head through that area. Thankfully, it doesn't look quite as bad in the lead up, but it is still pretty slow. Elsewhere, we go further to the west. We've had this crash. This is in the median of I-80 eastbound as you get just past Nebraska crossing. Thankfully, it doesn't look like it's affecting traffic too much, but watch for emergency crews that could be on hand working that scene. When you move away from crashes, we've also got the flooding that's happening as you get into western Douglas. You've got parts of Saunders County that are impacted, and that includes Highway 6 with some flooding in spots between Nebraska Crossing and Ashland at this point. So that's an area you may want to avoid in the early going. So we're kind of keeping tabs on all these moving parts. There's a lot that's coming in, so we'll keep you posted with all that as we get that information. Also, grinding to a halt as you're heading into that construction zone right near Giles westbound, worse than usual. You can see that's backing up into the 680 interchange with red. So another thing that I'll be watching here as we continue to put more and more vehicles on the road. Just be ready, leave a little extra time for that drive, give those emergency crews some more room to work.
Yeah, rough morning commute out there. All right, Jared, thank you. An update from Fremont now. The bodies of a man and 2 girls have been recovered from the wreckage of Horizon Biofuels. The Dodge County Sheriff's Office says they will not be releasing the identities of the girls. They have identified the man as 32-year-old Dylan Danielson of Columbus. The mayor of Fremont says Danielson worked at the plant. The girls were waiting to be taken to a doctor's appointment. Well, one question we're still asking, how could something like this have happened?
Yeah, OSHA is at the scene, but officials say they will not be providing any details until their investigation is done. Now, the State Fire Marshal's Office tells us they have several people on site also looking into a cause. Now, we did speak with a fire safety expert about the blast.
You said they had wood products there. And so immediately I was thinking that it was a combustible dust issue. And the dispersion and the concentration of that dust can cause rapid combustion. And in the event that it's confined, makes it even worse.
It is important to emphasize the State Fire Marshal's Office has not given any indication as to what may have caused that blast. Now, our team has been following this story very closely since this news first broke. For updates and a full recap of what we know so far and reaction from officials, head over to our website, firstalert6.com. In the next half hour, we're talking more details on local recovery efforts and how this all could have happened.
All right, I'm here at the safety desk with Maria Cade, and Maria has some information about concerns about the foods that many of us eat.
Yeah, there's a study focusing on this. They're finding ultra-processed foods, things like chips, pop, lunch meats, those packaged snacks, things that a lot of us eat. Those are actually maybe linked to a higher risk of having lung cancer, unfortunately. So researchers found people who ate a lot of those ultra-processed foods, they were 41% more likely to be diagnosed with lung cancer, and that's even after adjusting for people who smoked. Now, the study doesn't prove cause and effect, but experts say additives, packaging chemicals, and a lack of nutrients in those foods, those could all play a role. So experts really recommend choosing those whole or minimally processed foods to eat whenever you can.
It's those convenience foods, right? Yeah. All right. So I took my boys back to school shopping yesterday. If you are going back to school shopping and tech is on your list, you need to be aware of a few things.
Yeah, there are obviously a lot of risks that come with being online. And there's a recent study from the Journal of Human Development and Capabilities that's finding that smartphone use before you turn 13, before you're even a teenager, that's linked to worse mental health and well-being. So experts say kids between the ages of 10 and 14, those kids are particularly vulnerable to the dangers on social media. But there is some good news for parents, though. A lot of companies are advancing their technology with parental controls and those kid-friendly features, too. So if you're getting your kid an iPhone, Apple says it's really important to create an account for them, and then you can put their age on it so that there are some limits in place. Google also has some options, too. Family Link has parental features for both iPhones and Androids, and that way you can monitor your kids' activity online.
That part is so important. Yes. All right, Maria Kay from the Safety Desk this morning. Thank you. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. Time at 7:15 as things get started on this Thursday morning over here at the Weather Center. Let's get an update on how much rain we've been tracking this morning.
Yeah, the good news is the rain rates are lessening, so I think that's going to allow some of this water to run off, which is great news, and we need that. And the last 3 hours or so have been pretty intense with this lone cell dropping south, kind of breaking apart a little bit and then regenerating in some spots, but still some rain. Gretna over towards Wahoo and most places in between, but at least the strongest part of the cell with the greatest intensity is backed off even some too as it drops to the south. So I would be surprised if any flash flooding issues go any farther south than what we have here with the flash flood warning through 9:30. Again, it's the Elkhorn, the Platte, and places in between about 204th and the Platte River where the rain has really added up. Have seen some reports along 204th of 4 to 5, maybe even 7 inches of rain in some spots. And radar estimates you can see right here. Again, these are estimates, but some 4 to 5 inches around Gretna and then west of Elkhorn near the Utan area on Highway 92. But again, anywhere in here, pretty good average at least of 2 to 3 inches with some isolated heavier spots. And just in that narrow corridor, you see it even picked up steam as it got a little closer to us and dropped some rain. And that's the lone cell that it's been moving through. Otherwise, most of the rain has been light outside of this, and there's just not a ton outside of that as well. So that's what we're watching here this morning with that flash flood warning. And there it is. That's it. just that one loan that will not quit right over our area, and it continues to drop to the south. So rain chances here through the into the 8 o'clock hour, with decreasing odds pretty quickly after that, and a dry afternoon on the way. Now behind this, an aspect we haven't talked about much. I was going to until the rain rates really picked up, but the air quality is not that great to the north of this little complex moving in. So it may drag in a little wildfire smoke from Canada. There's also some fires in parts of Arizona and Utah that could send some higher, more elevated smoke our way. And you can see the smoke forecast here through the day today into the afternoon and evening. Could have a little bit of that through the overnight, making for some colorful sunrises and sunsets. And I'm hoping more of this is just elevated through the day on Friday, and you don't notice it too much with the air quality. But that'll be tracked along with the nicer conditions that are going to move in here. Notice the dew points Friday and Saturday down here in the Pleasant Range as well. So 80 today, near 80 all the way through Monday. Next chance of some storms rolls in on Sunday. But in the short term, we're tracking that lone thunder shower and keeping an eye on the beautiful weekend we have on the way.
Oh, I tell you what, those temperatures look great, but we're not done with the summer weather yet, are we?
No.
Okay, it's coming back.
Just a little reprieve right here. By the end of the 10-day, you can see the numbers. They go up, upper 80s to right near 90 degrees for that afternoon high much of next week. So a little reprieve here as we start off August, a nice little breath of fresh air, and it looks like you can open up the windows a couple of those mornings as well.
All right, let's get an update on traffic this morning. How are things looking, Jarrett?
We got a lot of problem areas that we're talking about with crashes, flooding. So let's dive in on the latest with what we're seeing happen out there. And let's go back to Valley, where we have that view of the crash where it has been in place, and the shot got moved once again by the NDOT. But what I can show you, even with this view, you notice how we've got kind of some flashing lights here on the far right edge of the screen. We're looking at Meigs as you're entering or leaving Valley. That going to be closed for several hours as a result of the crash that has been in place. 275 not impacted by the crash, but you are going to probably have to go to the next exit there if you are heading into that area. So there's what we're looking at. Meigs going to be closed for quite some time. Let's run through some of these other areas where we have problems. Starting to see some improvement on the ramp from the JFK northbound to 480. Still watch that left lane with the crash. We've still got the median with the crash on I-80 eastbound near Gretna. That could be causing some slowdowns with the emergency crews on the left shoulder. You've got some flooding that is showing up on Highway 6. We talked about this one between Ashland and Nebraska Crossing. We've also got this area where we're getting some flooding reports. This is right around Maple, 204th, a little west of there as you get close to the Ramblewood area, with some water that's over the road as you head into this part of the metro. So you're going to need to use caution if you're encountering any roads where you have water over the roadway. Do not drive through that. You never know how deep that water is underneath the surface. So it's going to be a morning where you want to leave extra time as you're heading out and about. You could run into some issues with flooding. You could run into some crashes. It's a commute where we're going to be staying on top of it, but you want to make sure that you're putting yourself in a winning position by giving yourself a little more extra time as we deal with all these conditions.
Yeah, definitely a good advice, Jared. Thank you. Well, happening today, a street dedication ceremony in honor of Mayor John Ewing. Lothrop from 22nd to 24th will now be known as John Ewing Street. The location is where Ewing went to school. Officials say the renaming will recognize Ewing's lifelong commitment to the city, as well as him becoming its first elected black mayor. Today's dedication starts at 1 p.m. at 22nd and Lothrop.
Also today, the Santa Lucia Festival starts in Omaha. This is a celebration honoring the Metro's Italian heritage. Ceremony begins at 7. The arch lighting ceremony starts at 7:45 at 10th and William.
Still ahead, taking your skeleton obsession to new heights.
Yeah, why some Depot's new Halloween line will have your lawn looking spooktacular when we come back. Halloween is months away, but Home Depot, of course, they're already getting ready to the holiday spirit.
Yeah, Home Depot's iconic giant 12-foot skeleton, we've seen them, right? And it's going to return. And this year, he has some friends, 5-foot-tall skeleton dogs and cats. There they are. It's a whole family. The new collection also features characters from horror films like The Bride of Chucky and Frankenstein. Home Depot's new Halloween decorations will be available for purchase online starting August 4th. It's just July 31st. Is this too soon?
No.
I don't know where.
It's not too soon.
So
I feel like it's too soon.
Somebody in my neighborhood had those two the dogs last year.
Oh, the dogs already?
Last year, I remember they had the giant 12-foot and then the two dogs next, and they were like animatronic. Like there's a couple people in my neighborhood that go wild with the Halloween stuff.
So August 4th, that's Monday, right?
Yeah.
So mark your calendar.
There you go.
You wanted to get that.
I do kind of like the dog one. Look how he's just sitting there. Oh my goodness. All right, 'tis the season. It's the next holiday, I guess. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. We're going to get ready for our update in today's show. Of course, you can watch it here on streaming, or you can watch it over the air.
Have a great start to your Thursday.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. A lot to get to on a very busy morning due to, of course, all that rain we've been experiencing. We'll get right over to meteorologist Jarrett Lansford.
And it is causing havoc on our roads. We've got a number of crashes. That includes this one in Valley. This is at Meigs, right close to where it meets Highway 275. And you can see it's a very busy scene at this point. Meigs likely to be closed for a few hours. So if you usually use that to access 275, go up to Highway 64 and use that as your alternate route. We're going to go pretty quickly here for the rest of these. We've got a crash I-80 eastbound as you're past Nebraska crossing. That's in the median. A couple of areas of flooding too. We've got Highway 6 partially covered between Ashland and Nebraska crossing, and some flooding reported near 204th and Maple as well, Rusty.
Yeah, and it's all in that narrow little corridor, basically between 204th and the Platte River, where this cell just ran right down there. Most other places are pretty darn quiet, and there's barely even been any lightning. It's just been torrential downpours over the last 3 to 4 hours, and now it's finally starting to see some of this weaken around the Gretna area. And some of this down to the south just kind of slowly meanders through from north to south. That's a flash flood warning that goes through 9 o'clock, encompassing a lot of the areas where we are seeing that. It's got to drain into the Elkhorn and into the Platte here over the course of the next few hours, and it should improve because there's no new rain upstream that's of any consequence. Maybe a couple little showers, but that's about it. So rain chances really dwindle here from heading towards the 8 o'clock hour, and then into the afternoon we clear out and the dew point drops and down into the Pleasant range, and we got a great day on the way. We should be able to top out near 80 degrees today and comfortable Friday and Saturday as well. Cerise?
Rusty, thank you. We are getting breaking news into our newsroom. This is a look of flooding out in Elkhorn. This is a photo from our photographer on scene at Maple Drive, just north of 204th.
In the meantime, more breaking news we are following. A person is in the hospital after this crash alongside I-80. This happened around 10:45 near the 680 interchange. No word about the cause of that crash.
7:28. We're back in 26 minutes.